one thing that I really admire about you is you've like overcome so much to get where you are today. And one thing that I really wanted to ask you about is you're a stage 4 cancer survivor.
Right. Yeah.
Which is incredible. Not many people can say that.
Yeah.
So wanted to ask you just like, about that and kind of dive into, everything that you went through during that period in your life. So like, when did you first find out that you had cancer?
It's crazy because it was about 10 years ago or over 10. It was in February. It was February 26th of 2011.
Okay.
I went to the ER.
Were you in high school?
No, I was in college.
Okay.
I was a sophomore in college.
Were you going to ASU or?
No, I was going to Scottsdale
that's
Community
right.
College for film school.
They have one of the top film programs in the United States.
Yeah, they're really good.
Yeah.
And so that was a 2-year program. So I would have been, I don't know, I guess a sophomore.
You're in your second year.
Man, it was all such a blur. It's nuts because within a year and a half, I got stage 4 testicular cancer, went through a whole bunch of chemo, and then went in remission, which means like you're cured. And then it came back and then went through a whole bunch of chemo.
Jesus. That's got to be so defeating.
Before I got in remission the first time, I had a huge surgery. And so, but all that happened in a year and a half, and I finished school in that year and a half.
Wow.
So it was so weird. In November, I remember back in November of 2010, I was getting all these weird achy pains. Like, it was kind of like if someone was like squeezing my kidneys. It was really strange. And I couldn't really eat all that much. And so I would go to the doctor, and literally it was crazy. I went to the doctor once, and they checked me out, and they were like, they didn't do any like scans or anything, but they were like, maybe you're, the thing is, I went to the doctors a couple of times before I got diagnosed, and they missed it completely. And the second time I went to my doctor, she was like, she did do a scan on me, right? And then she came back and she said, your intestines are full of stool, poop. And I was like, dude, I haven't eaten in 3 days. The only thing I eat is like a bowl of oatmeal. And so what she thought was poop was actually cancer in my intestines. So that was pretty nuts. And so, yeah, so from November, what kind of popped off was finally in February, I was just, the pain would come up really suddenly and really intensely, and then it would go away completely. So my parents would be like, Peter, you need to go back to the doctor. You're not looking so good. And I would be like, well, the doctor they say there's nothing wrong with me, or they say I'm full of,
They say you're full of shit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And so I was kind of fighting it. I was like, I don't want to go back to the doctor, even though I would like be in a lot of pain and then not be in pain. And I was actually doing my first short film at the time. So I didn't want to interrupt.
You're just pretending everything was fine.
Well, it was crazy because I would be in a lot of pain, but then it would be fine. All of a sudden, it would stop.
Right.
And so it was just so weird. But I was so determined to get this film done, and it was crazy. I got the film done, and we actually shot it on 16 millimeter film, and so I was gonna take it to L.A. to Burbank to get the film digitized and colored. And I was going to go with my brother to go see Nick, who was staying at his grandpa's house, where we ended up, shooting the grounds. And so right before I went, I was at work. I just started getting like really intense pain to where my boss was like, dude, you got to go to the hospital. Like, this is crazy. And so I got in my car, and then all of a sudden there's no more pain. And so I'm just like, man, like, what the heck's going on? And I really want to go to California. So I'm like, all right, I'm just going to drive to California. I think I'm good. And then my brother, Tim, calls me, and we're just having a conversation. And then he can tell in my voice that something was wrong. He's like, dude, what's wrong with you? And I was like, oh, I've been having these pains. I don't know. It's okay. But I'm going to drive to California anyway. I'm going to come pick you up. And then so I'm sitting in my car, like really like thinking to myself, being like, I should probably go to the ER right now. But then half of me is like, nah, you're good. Like, you should just go to California. And so then my dad calls me and is like, hey, Tim called me and said that you're not feeling that good. And then I'm like, I feel fine. It's all good. But then he's like, no, you really should go. And so I ended up going to the ER, had to wait a long time and all of that. And so they ended up doing a CAT scan on me, right? And then, so the doctor comes back with the CAT scan results, and his face was like white as a ghost. It was crazy. Like, he just comes in and he's like staring at me. So I'm looking at him and he's like, Peter, I don't really understand, because I got your CAT scan back and you have masses all over your body. And he's like, I don't know if it's cancer, but, or it might be this like one crazy thing where like people in Africa get, where they get masses all over their body, or like inside their body, that look like tumors, but they're all benign. But he thought it was so strange because I had all these tumors all over me.
It was all over your entire body.
Yeah, it was in my lungs, my pancreas, like intestines, all over. But he's like looking at me, and he's trying to check my eyes, because they're all over my liver too. He's trying to see if my eyes are yellow. That means like your liver is like doing badly. And so he's like, Peter, this doesn't make sense, because what I'm seeing is if this is cancer, then you should be on your deathbed right now, but you're here laughing and goofing off with your dad, like, and I'm like,
And your dad's sitting next to you.
yeah, my dad was there.
Jeez.
But I was like sitting up and feeling fine. So that's why the doctor
Did your heart
was
just
like,
drop when he said that? Like,
no, not at all.
I
I was like, nah, dude, this isn't cancer. What are you talking about? And so he was like, I'm honestly going to retest you, because this is crazy. You have all this stuff in your body, but you seem like you feel fine, So then he retests me, does another CAT scan. Then he comes back, and then he's like, no, okay, so this is real. Like, we don't know like what you have. It's probably cancer. We don't really know. And then he was like, it might be testicular cancer. And so he does a ball check on me, but those were fine. And that was the weird thing too, is they were saying like, hopefully this is testicular cancer, because testicular cancer you can actually come back from, because it's a really aggressive cancer that grows, but the chemotherapy that we have now can put it back in remission. And but like I said, he did the whole ball check and everything was fine, because usually when someone has testicular cancer, one of their nuts is huge.
Right.
You don't get testicular cancer. You don't get them in both of your nuts. You get them in one. And usually your ball swells up, and that's the first sign. But that never happened to me, so I was like, I don't think I have testicular cancer. But then again, I was like so in denial. I was like, I don't have anything. These guys are idiots. So then they were like, okay, we got to take you to our sister hospital to, do some more hardcore tests on you. And then I'm like, well, can I drive there? And because I want to go to McDonald's on the way, because I'm starving. And they're like, no, Peter, you don't understand. We're taking the ambulance, because they're like, we got to hook you up to like life-saving stuff just in case you all of a sudden just die.